Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
Hey, this is Scott Townsend. You're watching and listening to the Scott Townsend Show, and I have with me I'm going to call maybe a self-professed nerd. I'm not sure, but we'll see.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Jason Horn. Say hello, Jason.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
You doing all right?
Yes, sir. Just doing fun. About to go eat some lunch.
Yeah.
I get hungry at times, I like eating, and it's good.
What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Well, I worked out this morning, so that was good, and I had a protein shake, so I'm really starving right now.
So I asked Jason to be on the show today because this is something I don't know anything about, and I'm very curious to find more about this topic, and that is table games, role-playing games, and he has a convention coming up here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, but it's opened up to everybody across the United States. I understand you've got some people coming in from as far away as Florida. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct. We actually have two people coming in from Florida, but traditionally, we've had representation from both coasts, which is pretty amazing.
Right.
People are flying out from like San Diego or New Hampshire, and coming to play at our little event here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Man, that's so interesting. So, I haven't played this game before. I don't know that I've played any game in a long time other than putting together a Rubik's Cube. But
well, I need to get you involved. We need to have you come out and play some games with us then, sounds like.
Sounds like that'd be fun. I see guys at paper games and the table, laid out on tables with their little models and things like that.
Yeah.
So as we get into this, go ahead.
So it's interesting, Scott. What the game you're talking about is called Warhammer 40K, and it's been around since the 80s. And so even before I was born, which is kind of fun, but not before you, Scott, right?
Right. No. Thanks for reminding me.
Hey, no worries. And so we're actually on the 9th version of this game, and I started off with little metal models, and it takes place in the 40,000 years into the future. And so you got these human genetic super soldiers versus all the perils that are in the universe, from chaos and demons and even alien creatures and alien races that want to destroy the universe. So the tagline for this whole sci-fi genre is "There is only war." So
I saw that.
when you're in the 41st millennium, there is only war, and you'll probably get eaten by this alien race called Tyranids, which are basically like bugs. So it's pretty hilarious. You don't really have anything to look forward to. The really neat thing about this game is that not only is it a miniatures game that you can play with your buddies, have fun, relax. You get to build and paint models, which is something that I did when I was a kid growing up with my dad. And then show that off to your friends. But there's also a enormous lore behind this. I mean, there's been since the 80s when they created this universe. There has been books over the past, 40 years. And so there is a huge following of Warhammer 40,000 in the world because of this. In fact, the cool thing is you don't have to even play the game to love these books. And I, for one, started out playing the game back 9 years, almost 10 years ago. And first off, my wife is devastated that I picked up this game because I know, Scott, you haven't been to my house, but I'm afraid to show you my room because it is jammed packed with miniatures. I've actually asked her one time, because I was playing golf before I started Warhammer 40K. And I was like, honey, did you, going back 10 years ago, would you have rather me continue to play golf or play Warhammer 40K? And she, without a doubt, just said, I'd rather you play golf because you wouldn't have as many clubs as you do miniatures here. And so
and that'd keep you out of the house too.
Yeah, to keep you out of the house. There's a meme out there that you have this huge collection. As you've seen my background, I have some of the models I have. There's just a very small, very, very small portion of actually what I got. But there's a meme out there where it shows all these models and some really big units that are probably 2.5, 3 feet tall. I mean, you look at that army, and it's probably, $25,000 to $30,000 worth of just product. And in the meme, it says, "My biggest fear is that my wife sells my collection for what I paid for what I told her I paid for it." I'll tell you, that is my biggest fear right now, because I have not told her how much all this stuff costs.
And hopefully she doesn't watch this or listen to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm incriminating myself right now, so that's pretty terrifying. So
you bring up, I saw this one quote. It said, "This Warhammer 40K, it's what middle class nerds did instead of heroin."
Yes, and that's true. There's also another meme out there that says, "Teach your kids Warhammer because they won't have enough money to buy drugs." I mean, you equate that with a lot of things, but it is very true. It is an expensive hobby, but like I said, it is a hobby, and it's not a pay to play per se. It's more of, there's a lot of people out there, and I guess the reason I started the Iron Halo is because I love this Warhammer community so much. It's kind of like a golf league or a sports league where you create friends locally. But the really neat thing is I have friends that I met going to these conventions that are in Australia, in England, and every year when we go to one of the big events that they go to, it's kind of like a family reunion where you're excited to see the people that you haven't seen in a year and catch up on what they've been doing. And it's actually better than a family reunion because you actually want to see those people and you want to meet them. And it's also like a family reunion because there is drama.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the game.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the game itself. So you got, it's a table game.
Tabletop game.
Tabletop game. You've got these miniatures, however you say that. And so you set up your table, and 2 people play. Is there more than 2, or just 2 guys play? Two people play.
Well, traditionally it is a 2-player game. However, you can play with many different people. I've seen games with as large as 20 to 30 people per side. And if you can imagine, This is played on a 5 by almost 4 table. And so you can have multiple tables strung together, which helps with the immersion of the game. You can have what's really cool is you can have different terrain setups. So you can have a map with very little terrain, which is very advantageous for vehicle type armies or large robotic type units called Imperial Knights. And you can have the Imperium. You can have very heavy terrain, like more residential style terrain, ruins type terrain, which is very beneficial towards infantry. And so if you think about this game is really like chess on steroids. And so if you've ever played maybe a computer game similar to StarCraft or Warcraft, it is kind of the same concept, except you have a limited number of units on the board based on the game requirements. And you go out there, each unit has their own stat line, and you're able to roll dice based on that stat line. And from there, you can destroy enemy units. You can give wounds to creatures, and so or models out there. And while it sounds complex, once you dig into it, it actually becomes a very fun, very relaxing. And the best thing about it is you get to play with models that you created and painted yourselves against friends or even buddies and just have a fun time. I think my favorite part about the game is that I get to troll hard or just rag on my friends to the nth degree when playing this game, because it'd be like, why would you want to shoot this unit? That's a terrible choice. I mean, you're not going to do anything to them, and it's kind of like you're at the golf course or you're at a
trash talking.
Yeah, just trash talking like left and right, because the funny thing is that this is a game with dice, and as everybody knows, dice is random, and so you can have a 99% chance to kill this model, but because this player was able to roll some really hot dice, that model lives. And so it's just very very fun, very rewarding, and sometimes even frustrating game to play. But like I said, it's all about who you're with and how you and enjoying the experience and not the destination.
I'll have to apologize ahead of time because sometimes I interrupt too much, but questions pop into my mind. One of the questions that popped up was, so if you and I were going to play, and I'm just getting started, and I have like just a handful of models or something, and you've got obviously a house full. So
a small house.
When can you start to play? I mean, if I have 5 guys, am I able to play, or do I need $100 worth of stuff before I can start? When can I start playing?
Yeah, you can start playing today with like 5 models. At Paper Games, which is our local comic book and game store, they have kits that are like $50, and you can play with your buddies for $50. And so the really neat thing about this game is, in the competitive format, which is what I play a lot of, it has you can have anywhere from 3 to probably 200 plus models on the board.
So but if you go to a convention, how do you so you're walking in with boxes of models?
Yeah. We have carrying cases, not boxes. We organize them. We magnetize the bases so that if they get bumped, they won't move so much. I mean, there's a whole system in place. I mean, you can get super organized. You got the OCD people out there that are like just like putting those models right where they're supposed to go. And so it just, the cool thing about this game is it is a model game. And so if you're first starting out, we recommend you buy the faction so you can have so the game is represented in over 24 different factions, ranging from the Terminator to all the way to the Imperium of Mankind, which is the genetic super soldiers. You even have the ability to play as a all-female army, the Sisters of Battle, aka Nuns with Guns, which is kind of funny. And that's a whole other topic on how they got the name. But it's Nuns with Guns, legitimately. And then you even have the traditional standard army trooper. And so what's really funny about this game is the sky's the limit as far as what army and faction you want to play. There's even some amazing conversions. So you can I saw a Chuck Norris model the other day and like a Rambo Sylvester Stallone model. So that was pretty awesome. It was really special.
It seems like there's 3 levels to this Warhammer 40,000. There's the gameplay itself, which is just, you can play the game, or you can get all into the modeling. And not even play the game, or you can play the game and get into the modeling. And then the 3rd level is the lore, the books. Like the Black Library, I think has hundreds of books.
Yeah, I would say thousands.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, for you folks out there listening, if you want some really awesome sci-fi, check out Black Library. That is the lore arm of the Warhammer universe. In fact, you got the sci-fi version, and then you also have the fantasy version, which is called Age of Sigmar or Warhammer Fantasy. And if you're looking for some amazing story arcs that transcend like years of writing, it's out there. And so, in fact, one of my personal favorite stories is the Warhammer 40K Horus Heresy book series in the Black Library. So basically, no spoilers because this has already happened in the past, but in 30K, there were 20 Primarchs created by the Emperor of Mankind. And this is their story about how some of them betrayed the Emperor of Mankind. And so the Emperor calls them his sons. So it's like sons betraying the father. And it's an amazing story arc because you have these Primarchs, which are super, super genetic super soldiers, which have basically been the Emperor of Mankind has traits for each one of these sons that he has created. And it's really cool to follow. Like, some have traits that are like leadership, some have beauty, some have intelligence, some have selfishness, some have hatred. And it's really neat to see all these interactions within this huge story arc. And we're actually coming towards the end of the story arc, which has started probably, 10, 15 years ago. But I'm loving the book series. I'm loving getting to know all these characters, and my heart is getting wrenched out when characters pass away or die due to fighting against their brothers. So I don't want to give any other spoilers other than who dies. Primarchs do die, which is pretty terrifying. But if you're wanting to read an amazing story arc, you need to read the first 3 books of the Horus Heresy series, which is amazing. So I think the first one's Horus Rise, the second one is False Gods, and the third one is Galaxy in Flames. So I would recommend that. You get to love some of the characters like Gabriel Loken, Saul Tarvitz, and I think it is one of the best fantasy series that I've ever read in my life.
All right, with that, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about where this all came from and how you can join this convention right after this. Hey, this is Scott Townsend, and we're back with Jason Horn with Iron Halo Convention coming up probably in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, it's actually in 2 weekends. Yeah. I'm pretty excited.
So we were talking about Warhammer 40,000, and we just started getting into where all of this came from. So I guess Game Workshop is the creator of this entire universe?
Yes. Technically, I believe it is Games Workshop, and they have a lot of parent companies now. This game, it started back in the 80s, and it started with an edition called Rogue Trader, and basically it was all of these, the concept was all of these space explorers going out trying to find old technology in the 41st millennium. And so if you can imagine, right now we're in 2000 AD or 2K, right?
Right.
And this is 40,000 years in the future. So if you want to get a synopsis on the whole history of what has happened in the future, you can actually look it up online, and they have events like, AI taking over, and actually in the future, they're very against AI. And it's just an amazing lore. That's the story behind it. And so the miniatures are amazing. They're releasing new products almost monthly, and people are excited to get their hands on them. In fact, most of the really good models are sold out. So
I found it interesting that Game Workshops is press shy, and that they typically only communicate through their magazine. What was the name of that magazine? White Dwarf.
Well, that has actually changed quite a bit in the recent years. So that was traditionally the way they would communicate with their audience base. But with the change of the new CEO, they have definitely become more customer focused with having Twitch streams, showing new product, having open discussions. They've done more painting videos. They're actually meeting their player base instead of just producing a rule book saying, "Oh yeah, we think these rules are going to be really good," which is really great for the game, really great for PR and the from a
engagement.
Exactly, and this is kind of an interesting. Aside, we've seen personally, I've seen this change over the past 5 and 6 years, and it has been reflected in their balance sheet as well. And so if you look at the stock prices, there was actually an article the other day.
So it's a publicly traded company?
Publicly traded company. And so this article was said, why would you want to invest in Tesla when you have Games Workshop you're looking at? So if you look at the returns, it was like some astronomical number. I think So if you look at their stock price 10 years ago, it was like $1,000, which is really high for your stock price.
Yeah.
You want to know what's that right now, Scott?
Yes.
$10,000.
A share?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 10 years ago. And so so if I would have invested $1,000, I'd have $10,000 right now. And they're paying dividends. Anyway, it's very interesting. I believe one of the articles I read a couple months ago, it said that they were the only company in England, because this is actually a company out of England, to be profitable during the pandemic.
Yeah, I saw that, which is pretty amazing. Which brings me to my next question or next point, and that is, this seems like to be an underground. And there's a lot of people who are into it. There's a lot of money being made. The company's doing well. There's a lot of nerd fanatic people that are all up in this.
Yes, it is. Fanatic is the correct word.
But if I were to walk down the street and ask, if I did a reporter on the street corner, and I stopped somebody and said, who's Darth Vader, they would tell me. Mm-hmm. But if I stopped another person and said, who is Commander Shadow Sun,
no one would know.
No one would know.
Like no one. Exactly.
So when is it going to cross over to, does there have to be a movie made or a TV show created or something to bring it to mainstream before the average Joe like me is going to know about this?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think Games Workshop is in the progress of doing those things. So right now, as far as I know, that they contracted with the Marvel comic book studio to actually develop a comic book on Marnius Calgar, and he is an Ultramarines Space Marine, and the Ultramarines, they are basically the poster boys of Warhammer 40,000. Oh yeah. And as a Blood Angels player and a Sisters of Battle player, I absolutely hate them because they're just like the poster boys. You know, they're like the guy, the fraternity guy that's the chiseled chin and like, hey, we're really good out here, and they really don't do any work, and so. Anyway, but they're developing comic books. In fact, they've actually recently said that they are going to be developing a movie or TV show called Eisenhorn, which is another book in the Black Library series, Inquisitor Eisenhorn. And I've also read that book, and it is really good. Not as good as the Horus Heresy, I think, because you got the Primarchs and you got super like brothers fighting against each other, and it's really funny because. You know, even in the 41st millennia, brothers fight. And it's really fun to see that. The more things
change, the more things stay the same.
Exactly. And so you see that reflected in the books and then in the lore. And it's really neat. We're also seeing a lot of, underground, third-party, not affiliated content creators out there. And so there's actually a quick YouTube video segment called Astartes, I believe. And it's quick. There's 5 videos. They're 2 minutes apiece. And if you want to know what Space Marines do, watch that video. Video 2 is one of my favorite videos in all of 40K, because it's like you see the Space Marines, they're boarding into the ship, and the Space Marines are 7 and 8 feet tall, super genetically enhanced. They have 2 hearts, 3 lungs, super strength in a suit of power armor. So they're not wearing like fatigues or anything.
Right.
And they're coming in, and they got these bolt rifles, and they're not like a traditional machine gun that just shoots around. Each round of these bolt rifles is actually a miniature rocket with an explosive tipped head, and they only explode after they contact flesh. So in the books, it routinely says after they shoot these bolt rounds, it's like a pink mist. It just explodes because they hit the solid body, and it just explodes inside of these enemy models. And so. You got these Space Marines trucking through these small corridors. You got these guys that are just normal Joes trying to kill these Space Marines with like las guns and knives and stuff, and they can't even do it. So it's like 3 Space Marines versus an entire armed ship, and they just wouldn't even stand a chance. And so
you need to send me the link to that video. or those
I will.
videos.
I will. And so it also
no, go ahead.
and also so there's a website called Warhammer40,000.com. It goes deeply into the game itself, and there's actually some videos that Games Workshop created. And so it also kind of shows like the grim dark of the universe and like what these super soldiers are doing. And so they just came out with, since 9th edition just released, they just came out with a video representing 9th edition. And when I first saw it, I was like, wow. Like the chainsword's gonna do that. Oh my god. It's like the reaction video, and it was really, really cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about the convention. So you've got this convention coming up. You've done it for how many
6 years now?
6 years. And I guess you guys started in 2015?
2014.
14?
Mm-hmm. So
tell me a little bit about, tell the listeners and watchers a little bit about this convention and how they might get involved.
Sure. So our event started in 2014 in a small restaurant. We actually started with 40 people, and through the years we've grown it with meeting friends at different events and having people come down. And so now on the 40K side, we're going to have 130, and then for the other events like 30K, Age of Sigmar, and Titanicus, we're going to have another 20 people now. So our event has grown from 40 to 150 in 6 years.
Wow.
And
That's great.
I'm actually really excited. It's probably going to grow even more. I was anticipating anywhere from 150 to 200 people on just the 40K side. But because of the pandemic and because of spacing requirements, we've definitely reduced that number down. And so, it was really interesting this year. It was supposed to be like one of our banner years, but
right.
The pandemic happened, and so we took precautions. Like obviously we're making our players wear masks. We're actually passing each participant is going to have a bottle of hand sanitizer. So that's really good to keep everybody safe and secure. And so,
right.
Our whole goal is to play the game safely, have fun. But I feel like, personally, what's the point of living if you can't feel alive? And
right.
for some people here, it's playing Warhammer 40,000 and playing all these games is helping them cope and helping them feel alive and living life. And so we're just happy to be a part of that.
So this convention is, what's it for as far as you guys get together, but are you raising money for something, or is it?
Yeah, so we've partnered up with On the Rock Ministries the past 5. This is year 5, and so we raise money to help them, pay for any facility improvements. Like the Iron Halo, with all of the fundraisers, have bought air conditioning units, doors for the Rock. We've helped them purchase a bus, and last year they were able to help pay for a therapy dog for their students. So
that's cool.
Wow. We're really connected with Andy and On the Rock, and this year we haven't really, because of COVID threw everything out of whack. We were planning on doing a lot of stuff with them, but this year we have a Warhound Titan, and I can actually get it for you if you want to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
it's like a little baby. All right, I'll be right back. Hold on one second. I didn't think about this. So behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
Dancing. Can you do your best dancing bear, Scott?
Yeah, I'll do my dancing bear, and we'll wait for Jason here. I thought he was talking about he was going to bring something to show me later on, not like right now, but that's cool. Warhammer 40,000. So I think the 40K is referring to the year 40,000. So I thought when I first saw 40,000, I thought that I had no idea what that meant. So it sounds like, oh man, Jason's coming back with his something here. What in the world? What is that, man?
So this is a Warhound Titan.
Oh, wow.
It is probably about a foot tall. It's
Yeah.
missing an arm. That's the arm right there. But we'll fix this. So we're actually raffling this off at the Iron Halo to support On the Rock Ministries.
Oh, cool.
That's been professionally painted by Outcast Painting. It's got a really nice base.
Yeah.
You're actually the first one to that I told this to, so I haven't actually told it.
We have a scoop here, the reveal.
Yeah, the big reveal. So
that's awesome.
Really awesome. This unit you can actually play in Warhammer 40K. And,
really?
Yep. So we have models that go from like a foot tall to there's one that is probably 3 feet tall, which I want to get, but Stephanie is not going to let me get because it's too expensive. I want to put it on the mantle because I think it'd be an amazing display piece.
Just tell her how much it really doesn't really cost, and it was only $10.
Yeah, it was only $10. I don't think she'll believe me, to be honest.
So the game is here in Bartlesville. People are coming in from all over. There's going to be precautions, a lot of precautions. It sounds like, to keep people safe, and masks and hand sanitizer, social distancing, and temperature checks, and all that stuff. So it sounds like you guys are taking safety and health seriously for this convention, and keep people safe, and therefore letting them have a good time.
That's correct. Our goal is to make sure it is a safe environment for everyone. Masks. Our staff is actually going to be required to wear masks as well as a face shield. So, and then anybody that's working the concession, we have gloves for plenty of gloves to give out. We can provide masks if we need to, but again, our goal is to be safe and be responsible, and I think we're going to do a good job of that. The numbers here in Bartlesville, the COVID numbers here in Bartlesville and Dewey are relatively low. I think it's at 80 in the 80s right now. Mm-hmm. So, our concern is people coming from out of town and catching the virus. So, on top of the temperature checks, if someone is, dry cough, kind of not looking very good, we'll obviously, we'll ask them to leave. We'll refund their ticket, and if anybody also, in addition, if anybody that's coming in from out of town is been exposed to someone with COVID or has COVID or is in recovery, we are actually offering refunds up until the day of the event based on any sickness or COVID related issues. And so, that's potentially could be very devastating to our event.
I'm sure you guys will be fine. Sounds like you got all your bases covered.
Yeah. Yep.
So for more information about Iron Halo Convention, we'll post the link to the website here at the end of the video, and in the show notes below on the YouTube channel and on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and wherever else you get your podcast. So, Jason, thanks a lot for stopping by and giving me a great education on Warhammer 40,000.
That's correct. And Scott, you're going to help us out with the event, aren't you?
Yes, I am. So I'll be there running one of the. Oh, that reminds me, they have live. You guys are going to live stream it, so people will be able to watch. If they're not going to be able to make it, they can check in and see what's going on. That's
exactly right. So I'll send you the link for that, but it's Twitch / Lord Marshall TV, all one word. But I'll send you the link for that, and we will go live Saturday morning around 9:00. So next Saturday. So for all you listening or watching, all these links that we mentioned in the show today, I'll have in the show notes, because we did cover a lot of material, a lot of links that if you want to do a deeper dive or want to sign up for the convention, be sure and sign up. Help those guys get their attendance numbers up. If you want to find out what it's all about, it'd be a great place to start. So, Jason, thanks a lot. Thanks for all the info. We should have you back sometime. Yeah, after the convention's over. All right, man. Well, for Jason Horn, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for watching and listening to the Scott Townsend Show. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Dietzo Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.